Hey, well, look, y'all. We are inside of the barbershop this morning. I don't know if you've ever been in a barbershop before, but if you've been in a barbershop, then you know how it goes down. Same thing in salons. If you've ever been in a salon, it's a place where you can go. You can find out what's going on in the news. You can find out what's going on in the community. You can find out what's going on with anything. And the barbershop and the salon is also the place where people keep it real. Like, you're going to find out people's opinions, where they stand on things. And so on this morning, I got some people, and we in here with the one and only Pastor Carl, but also, if y'all don't know, he's a master barber. Right? Is that what they call it, master barber? You know, and so we just sitting in the, in the barber shop this morning. Got Big Irv in here. We got Vince in here. We got LJ in here. We just going to have a good conversation. You just left out from, service this morning. Great word from Bishop. But we just gonna come at it a little different this morning. So hopefully you stay tuned in, see where we're going with it. But we're just gonna chop it up a little bit. But before we jump into that, just like any barbershop, I've been waiting to get a couple of folks in here, because in true barbershop fashion, I gotta say that it does my heart good to know that LeBron is gone fishing. It does my heart.
It's time to go, bro. It's time to go.
He want to get me started.
It does my heart good to know that LeBron has gone fishing. Okay, God. And I can't leave you out, man. Hey, send a message to your pastor for me. Let him know. Ask him how you feel about them Hawks today. Because his Knicks have gone fishing as well.
They gone fishing.
So you let Pastor Ferg know that I said, I'll be praying for him in his losses.
Who your team?
I'm a Hawks fan. I'm from Georgia. I'm a Georgia guy.
Okay.
I gotta be a Georgia. I'm a Georgia boy through and through. So I'm a Falcons guy. I'm a Braves guy. I'm a Hawks guy.
Okay.
But I keep it real. I don't understand this area, by the way. I ain't gonna beat Cowboys fans up too bad. But how you in Virginia?
And you a Cowboy.
I'm from Georgia. You ain't gotta ask me who I like. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand that. But
who are you supposed to go for? The football team?
Oh.
I'm just saying it's a little different. You know what I'm saying? But y'all know how it goes down at the barbershop. Right. Every hot take ain't gonna be liked by everybody. Because I've been telling LJ since I met him that Mike is the greatest basketball player of all time, and he will be.
Y'all cannot act like Michael Jordan only had a 6-year career. That's all I want to say.
Thank you.
They act like Jordan had just a 6-year career. And it was just straight 6 years and he won all 6 years. And then he retired.
Don't push me back though.
Gotcha.
Boy, he only played in the finals.
And he only played in the finals. LeBron, this is his first time, and he was hurt. First time losing in the first round. I mean, I tried not to tell him too much. Because they had like, you know what I'm saying? Look, I was just saying.
I don't want to hear it.
Let's just say it like that.
I don't want to hear it.
Get into the real stuff, which is what we came here for.
All I'm going to say is,
Listen.
y'all know I can go all day on it. All I'm saying is this. We're just seeing how the playoffs feel this year without him.
Okay. It's going to be dry. It's going to be dry. It's going to be dry.
Dry? I don't think it'll be dry though.
Let's just see.
Because the boys up top, they doing their thing.
We talking about this next.
Next. Harden, the way he hurt.
He hurt.
But
he's hurt.
Last night it been a good game.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You know what? We're going to get off of that, though, because I know y'all will be on that all day. Check this out. I want y'all to see this video, man. Let's see if I can bring it up. Check this video out.
Fur mama bear protecting her dogs fights off an actual bear in her backyard in California.
Video's crazy. It shows the bear walking on the back wall with her baby cubs when this brave teenager runs out to push the mom off the fence. Watch this.
In that moment, I don't have much time to think. I run over to the bear, and the first thing I think to do is to push the bear off the ledge.
Oh my goodness. The bear actually picked up one of the dogs there, but dropped it just as the teen rushes in.
Do not push bears. Do not get close to bears. You do not want to get unlucky. I just happened to come out unscathed.
Experts say this is the time of year when black bears wake up from semi-hibernation. See little cubs on the fence there with her. They say the bear was just trying to protect her babies. The dogs rushed out when they saw this, and the dogs think they can take her. The bear's like, try me. And then the mom tells her, I don't think so, Mama Bear. Pushes her right up. Everyone is okay, thank goodness.
And this play-by-play is the best when it comes to this video.
Because dogs will say, oh, I got it.
Right? Exactly.
We're
The dog thinks that he's a grizzly bear. He's like, you're a black bear. I'm a
Always the
grizzly bear.
smallest dogs too.
I know.
Listen, man. So I just wanted to know if y'all did y'all see that video before today?
No.
I did peep it.
Yeah. So I need to know which one of y'all was getting ready to go up to that bear.
Not for no dog.
Not for the dog.
First of all, rest in peace, Puppy Pup. Rest in peace, because first of all, where's Bradbury? I'm from California, so
Right.
But no, not for no dog, bro.
Not for the dog? Not for the dog?
No.
Well,
You know, depends on your love for the
Man,
dog.
I'm just glad my
Because
wife
they're
ain't
not
here, 'cause I could be
dogs,
safe and say it here. I ain't doing it for the dog either. Now, if I was with my wife, I might be like, I might try it, with a stick. But I ain't even going out with a stick. Not for no shit.
That's not a little bear, man.
That's a big bear.
No.
That's not a little bear.
And she had a cub.
Yeah.
And she had a
And
cub.
she had a cub.
I don't think I would have went out there if it was just the cubs for the dog.
No, not for the dog.
There's still 2-3 of them cubs.
And they got
No, I'm
teeth.
saying that's the reason why I wouldn't have went out there, because of those cubs.
Right.
First of all, what if the bear would have came across this way instead of fell in the yard?
Right.
It would have been another major. No.
Right.
Shout out to what was the young lady name?
Yes,
Man,
Lord.
I didn't catch her name
going out
because
there and pushing
man,
over the
and
bear.
doing what she did.
Numbers or something.
I'm not going out there, man, like at all.
Haymaker caught over the haymaker easy. Like,
Well, and here's my thing about it, right? I was sitting up listening to Bishop preach, right?
Right.
And we all listen to Bishop's sermons and things like that. He was preaching about David, 23rd Psalm. Man, David did some of the same stuff now.
Right.
He fought bears and lions for sheep, right?
Yeah.
For sheep.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I ain't doing it for a dog.
Right.
I ain't doing it for a sheep. You know what I'm saying? And it made me really start thinking, man, I don't know about y'all, man, but when I was growing up, man, they used to always use this one phrase. If you scared, say you scared.
I'm scared.
You know what I'm saying? and it really got me thinking, man, like, even with us, man, like in our walk, just as Christians, believers, disciples, that's a whole nother conversation. We can talk about that later. But, like, you gonna have moments where you need to really just come to the realization you might be a little bit scared. And then deal with it, right?
Yeah.
Because, when you look at like David's life and you profile him, if you look at Samuel, man, when he's talking about fighting the bears and the lions, it's because he's talking about going to fight a giant. But how does he get to a point where he can be comfortable with fighting the giant?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He had to deal with some.
Deal with the lions in the back.
Yeah, but here's my thing. We ain't got bears and lions unless we out there Bradbury, right? But I feel like we got our own bears, right?
That's true.
That we need to go
That's true.
and try to fight. But my question to y'all, man, is like, if you had to name something that's like a bear for you, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's a bear for you? Do you have any, or is it just maybe it's just me?
I like the question. I can't immediately tell you what my bear is, but I do believe what we just finished saying was I wouldn't go out there. Well, for me, I said that I wouldn't go out there for my dog, right? Or for I don't have a dog.
Right.
So what I probably want to say is what I would have to look at in my life is what are those things that's so important to me that when that bear do come, even in my fear, you know what I'm saying, I don't have no, it's because the bear is trying to get whatever this thing is that, I care about so much or I love so much or, I can't do it. It's that important that I'm going to get past the fear of the bear. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what my bear is right now, but if I know what's most important to me, then when the bear comes, then I should be, I'm hoping that I can pull on my strength from God and it'll help me,
I got you.
You see what I'm saying?
yeah. And I think what's most important about David's situation, talking about David attacking bears.
Hey, this conversation too good, man.
He knew.
Cut my hair right now.
He knew what he signed up for.
Okay.
And I think a lot of times we don't take inventory for what we signed up for and who we are. Like in the beginning of my marriage, one of my bears was video games.
Okay.
Because I was, we grew up in video games,
Right,
what I'm saying? And I really love video games. I put hours into video games when I was younger before I got married. But we married. You can't put hours into a video game and put hours into your wife.
Game over.
Right.
Game over.
You might try.
Right, exactly. So, you know, I tell my son, I'm like, look, man, you need to know who you are. My mom always say, pick your battles. You need to know who you are. You need to know what you signed up for. I signed up for a marriage. So I haven't bought a system since like GameCube.
Okay.
Because I know if I buy $400 system.
You been married since GameCube?
Wow.
You been married since GameCube?
No, my money won't roll. So you know how that flows.
Okay. Hey, don't try to act like you were so disciplined.
No, but you know when you get married, it's sort of like, okay, I'm getting, you know, I don't say fuss that, but you know, about putting time in the game and stuff. So I say, okay, if I put $400, $500 to a system, I told my son the other day, I'm gonna ignore somebody.
Yeah.
Somebody getting ignored because I already put money into $400, $500 to the system. I'm gonna play $405 worth of video games. So y'all will be like, Daddy, I'm hungry. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna feed y'all in a second. In a second, turn to a minute, turn to an hour. Right. So and then once again, I put time into my wife because I'm like, yo, I invested money into this game. So one of my bears would have been video games if I didn't know. Okay, take inventory on myself and say, okay, I need to pull back. And maybe when I retire and get the kids out of the house, maybe I get to pick it up again. But still, you know, I know who I am, and I know what one of my vices would be.
I agree with both of them, but one thing I agree with is I think I got too many bears. You know, just to name one. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But one thing I do know is, for my loved ones, whatever, what I hold valuable, it doesn't matter if a bear, dinosaur, it's valuable. I mean, I'm gonna go at it. You know? Right. But the thing is, I guess she just act off the love of what she loves. So it didn't matter how big that bear, what he got. I mean, because again, that bear could have took a swipe and decapitated her. You know what I'm saying?
So here's my question, and maybe I should ask the resident master barber and pastor in the room. Everybody so far has talked about what's important to them, right? But what about the fact that if you're looking at David, right? Okay. It was what was important to God, right? Because if David is a man after God's own heart and he's a shepherd, then his number one concern was the sheep. So David's number one concern was the sheep, right? So you're looking at he's more concerned about the sheep than he's concerned about himself. So for us, is it that we're supposed to be more concerned about what pleases God or where we at? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's more so about, for me, what pleases God. Like, for instance, where we are in our society today with so many of our young, African American men, teenagers are being gunned down. For me, I think that there should be, people to come to their rescue. You know what I'm saying? And defend them. I feel like I'm the bear when it comes to the, to the youth. Because we got to stand up and protect them. Especially with me being a barber and a community leader, because they come here. I serve them.
Right.
So. I just think that, that's just my perspective, on it.
That's a different lens. Well, so here's my thing. So remember, I said, for me, I'm thinking about that whole phrase of if you're scared, say you're scared. Right. Man, is it possible though that maybe, in a lot of situations with the bear, like when we talked about the dog, I ain't doing this for no dog. Right. But are we scared of the adversity? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and is it the adversity that's causing us not to be able to actually overcome? Little girl, for whatever reason, her love for, like y'all said, for the dog seemed like it was greater than the fear.
Yeah, she could have lost her life.
You know what I'm saying? So she let the adversity piece, because, we know what that outcome could have been.
Absolutely.
But in our own lives, man, I feel like, let me speak for me. I feel like at times, man, I don't fully jump into things because I'm afraid of the adversity.
Okay.
I think that's smart, though, because I'm the opposite. Sometimes I want the phone. I'm jumping into it can hurt though in the long runs, but sometimes I want the phone. I'm controversial. I'm let's chunk them.
Right.
But again, I think that the smart thing about it, that's smart because, learning how to jump into it too fast,
Look, here's the lesson I saw about that too, though. She was willing to lose her life.
Absolutely.
For those. Right. You got to be willing to lose your life for the things of God. You got to be willing to lay down your life for the things that God is interested in. And we don't know if those dogs were her mother and father's dogs or whatever, but she put her life on the line.
Well, let's keep it 100. Though. I don't think a lot of people say that. That's why I hate a lot of church rhetoric. Everybody be like, man, I love the Lord, or whoop, whoop, whoop. And then when the phone pop off,
absolutely.
Like
when the verses show
again, then you put your Bible back. You know what I'm saying?
Real quick. Because that's the point, and so that's the point that I think Pastor John was trying to get to see. Because again, to my point, you got to find out, like what's important to you and right? And so what we sit here saying is, right, and even in our regular lives, we live for God and that sort of thing. So if the assignment is, whatever it is, and it might be it might be something that scares you, right? It might be something that's just super intimidating. It might be something. Mount Portsmouth, when it first came up for me, right? It's just intimidating. It's uncomfortable. It's nothing that I ain't never think I'd be doing. It's just so that was a bear, right? It was so now it's a matter of okay, well, how important is what you saying? You saying you a believer, you saying that you follow God, you saying, so is this one of those things that you willing to go out there and push that bear over? Wow. So it's like, so you saying that you'll do it for everything that's important to you and that you love, but okay, believer, okay, disciple. Right. Now, when I give you that assignment, you know what I'm saying, that's going to put the fear of God in you, you know what I'm saying? Like, for real, right. Are you going to push the bear over? Right.
That's scary. Because that's hard. That's hard, man. Like, when you really face something that, literally is going to change your life or take your life. Yeah. And a lot of times it ain't even that it's going to take your life. In your case, life was good. Yeah. And now you go pastor. Are your friends gonna still be your friends? Exactly. How people gonna? They should. But let's be honest. Adversity, we look at it sometimes as just being somebody that's like opposing you, but sometimes the adversity is just the change. Absolutely. Sometimes, man, I just feel like we're afraid to change, but we don't want to talk about it. Yeah. And I feel like if we would talk about it and get people that hold us accountable to it, it's like, well, man, you over here saying this, but now as soon as it's uncomfortable. Right? So it's like, man, sometimes it's better to come into a barbershop or something with some people that's like-minded and say, man, I'm scared. Yeah. I don't know if I'm ready for this, and then have some people actually give you some good counsel, because like you said, just being churchy, man, I don't always want to hear, man, I'm praying for you. Right. Praying for your wisdom and your strength, doc. No, man, no. I need you to keep that doc part. Keep it real with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I think, so that was one thing I thought about, man. Then the other thing, I was like, sometimes I'm just scared to fail. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm scared of failure. That's a bear. That's a bear for me, man. I'm scared of failure. Yeah. So, what if I do go and I try to push the bear over? I live, but I show signs that the bear whooped my hind parts. And everybody talk about, man, he was so stupid. He gonna run up and try to fight a bear, right? And now you out there exposed. I don't know if y'all feel like that, but man, just as a man,
sometimes exposure is good. That kind of exposure, at least you didn't lay down. You know what I'm saying? At least you didn't lay. Expose me. You don't mind the bear hitting you.
No, not in that sense of the bear, but in the sense of like what he was saying. If something came up, and you went and tried to do what you did, and everybody not gonna be like her and come out, as she said, unscathed.
Well, she did have a wound on her finger.
She had a finger, but she caught her. She said herself that she was blessed enough to come out unscathed. Yeah. But I'm saying it may not happen like that for all of us, and so I think what Big Herb is saying, I agree with him. I don't mind you going and fighting that bear and doing whatever, and you might come back with a few scratches or whatever case it be. At least you was willing to go out there and fight the bear. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because if not, then the assignment don't get complete, or whatever the case may be. So you got to be willing to, take some lumps with the, again, the process not gonna be easy.
So you good with failure though? Like, you good with it? Like, you don't mind failing?
Well, see, I don't think failure is that big a deal. Ooh. You know what I mean? That's just my process. Because we can learn from it.
I'm going to say it's lessons.
It's lessons, and you can grow from learning, and sometimes you can grow more. I'm mathematical. Y'all know, math.
Come on, professor.
Exactly. You know what I mean? You learn more from getting the problem wrong than you do from getting it right. Okay. That's all the time. Like, you learn, like when we go to do proofs, you go the wrong way, but you've been working on the problem for half an hour, and you realize you hit a fence, a wall, and now I got to double back and go all the way back to the beginning and go another route. Mm-hmm. Well, all of that experience up to that point showed me where not to go next time, or how to handle this process when I see a different type of problem that's very similar. You know what I mean? Now I can double back, and now I got to go this way. Now I'm getting more experience in going in this direction. And so you may get to the end or to the solution. You may not. You may have to double back and go this direction. And so when we deal with like, you know, you deal with a calculus problem that can be 7 pages long. You know what I mean? So, and if you take the wrong route, you didn't put it in 7 pages
I
worth of
just
work.
kept smart in my
You know what I'm saying? And you can put 7 pages worth of work into going in the wrong direction, and you still didn't get your proof. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. Like, a failure not always the worst thing in the world. I think you should.
Or what is really failure? You know, it's like, I think companies, they do it all the time, right? They try things, right?
Yeah,
You put something out, you try something, if it don't work, it just don't work. Then you, like you say, you regroup and you try again. It's not necessarily failure. It's just, I tried something, I had an idea, we tried to put it together, we tried to execute it, it didn't happen the way we thought it was gonna happen. I think a lot of times we look at it as failure, when we look at it as you tried something, no, kids, so you tried it, it didn't work, and we wanna, you know, people start pointing finger, it didn't work. No, it's not that you failed, it's just, you know, you tried, you was willing to try something, you was willing to step out there and do something, it just didn't work the way we thought it was gonna work. Okay, we gonna punt, and we try it again. It's not necessarily failure.
And I think it's dope coming from the person or the orchestrator of church redefined, right? He's talking about redefining failure.
Like redefining the language.
Redefining the language.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's to redefine what is failure. Like you said, what is failure?
Right.
And failure, just like beauty, is in the eye of the beholder. Like you can look at failure and say, oh yeah, you failed. But if I look at that and reshape it, just like the disciples, right? You know, when Jesus died on the cross, they were all in turmoil. But if they had redefined how they looked at the process and said, well, we're only 3 days away from him being raised up. Versus looking at now, he's dead, but we're only 3 days away now. Like before, we had no endpoint. Like now we have a point, like he's dead, but we're only 3 days away from the resurrection. You know what I mean? So they had redefined how they looked at the process or the moment. You know, it would have been all different.
I always say that, you know, until I die is when I really fail. You know, because like I said, I don't have a chance, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can't regroup. That's if when you can't regroup.
That's the definitive.
That's you know, it's always another day. Like what did the dude say on Friday? Son, you live.
So you fail when you don't try again.
You fail when you don't try again.
So the failure is in not.
Okay.
I mean that's dope. I mean even when
Craig.
even when Bishop was preaching though, he talked about, I think the first point was personal experience. You know, and just looking at it and saying, okay, so failure is only classified by the person that doesn't try, doesn't learn, right? Absolutely. So then you look at somebody like David, like we know his whole profile. Right. Like we ain't gonna get into all of that today, but the reason why he's able to go and fight a Goliath is because he's had success beating a lion and a bear, right? And so when you look at it, what y'all are saying basically is, I mean, because that would equate to failure. Even if he didn't defeat the lion or the bear the first time and he stopped, then he would have been an unsuccessful shepherd, right? But because he was able to get those victories, then it makes it possible for him to say, hey man, y'all got this Philistine out here mocking our God, and I'd beat a lion and a bear, so I can get him too. But I think it's a graduation, right?
Absolutely.
And I think for me, sometimes, man, it's scary to graduate. Okay. If I'm just being honest. I mean, I'm just trying to keep it real. I think for me, sometimes it's scary to graduate. Right. You know, I mean, I think I've listened to you preach at times where it's just like, you know, I know I'm here, but it's scary. Definitely. I mean, I know me and you went to a dinner, a breakfast. Right. And we sitting in a room, man, with people, you know. Now, everybody, Pastor Carl knew people in this room that I did not know. Right? But Pastor Carl was still like, man, you know, I don't know how I really want to move in this room because there's some movers and shakers in here. I'm looking at Pastor Carl going, Pastor Carl know everybody. Pastor Carl looking at himself going, I don't know, right? Because it's still an unfamiliar, you know what I'm saying? For me, I guess it's a context thing. And so, you know, personal experience really kind of, but once you do it, you know, and I don't know how it was for you that day, but once you there.
For me, I was intimidated because I know that, you know, it was tall cotton and there was a lot of bears in there, you know, so I'm trying to figure out how do I finagle or move around in this room, you know, among these bears, these giants, you know, and not lose my authentic self, you know, and still be courageous enough, you know, to do what God called me to do. So, you know, being in environments like that, you know, around a lot of bears, you know, I think you got to really, really be cautious on, you know, how you move and how you finagle. And I think that's what she did, you know, because when the bears started moving further away, close to the end of the wall, you know, she just made a decision. You know, it's either here or now. You know,
what a great thing did about that too. She didn't do a whole bunch of talking either.
She didn't.
She did a whole bunch of yakking and bumping them gums.
She made a decision.
She just went on in this whole again, even in that room.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've learned that too, being a loud dude. Sometimes, you know, stop talking and just, you know, get to it.
Absolutely.
Man, I keep feeling like you talk about fighting. Out there, man. I'm just saying, it just feels like, man, like you got.
Try Jesus.
Man, I'm telling you something, and I think the other thing for me, man, and
I don't want you to step.
oh, I see him, man. I ain't gonna mess him up, man, because I ain't got no more here. I still got to drive home from the barbershop. Appreciate it. Yes, sir. Look, man, I'm telling you, for me, I think sometimes accountability can be scary too. So even having this conversation with y'all, because now you go hold me accountable. It's like, oh, you came in talking about you scared, but bruh, you can't be out there talking about you scared of this and scared of that. You gotta, you got accountability, because now when you say it out loud, and you say it to somebody else, if they really for you, they gonna hold you accountable. And sometimes I think, man, we don't even like to admit that we got areas that need work. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't want to face the, you know, the fact that, you know, accountability is just strange, man. Because and I give y'all this example. I notice every week, and all of us kind of work, whether it's your church or your church, you a media director at your church. You know, you do the stuff with virtual. I watch week after week where partners don't share on their social media, but they really active.
Okay.
And I think sometimes, man, they don't like to share because they don't want to be held accountable.
Okay.
To being associated. Okay. To God publicly.
Okay.
Because once I put it out there, I mean, can I do the twerk video and follow it up with, you know, hey, it works? You can't do it. I mean, you know, can I have somebody, you know, can I put somebody up that I admire that did the busted challenge and then turn around and put up, you know,
time out. Did he say the busted challenge, y'all?
That's what he said, sir.
The busted challenge.
I'm just saying, like, I mean, can you put up different content and say, or are you afraid?
Or can you? Is that a question?
We can go there too. We can go there too. Can you? Can you even put it up? Is that, or have we taken accountability and redefined it in a way to make people feel like they can't be who they are?
That's what I think we've done. That's just what I think we've done.
Go ahead, elaborate.
I think church has made people believe that you have to be a certain way, right? For instance, and I've said this before, we've all seen a meme, a video, or something on social media that we just thought was downright hilarious. It was funny, you was rolling on the floor, slapping your knee, you showed it to everybody else in the room, everybody had a good laugh over it. I mean, y'all might have laughed 5, 10, 20 minutes about it, but you went on ahead and swiped it. You didn't like it. You didn't comment on it.
I can't.
Because it may have some language in it, or it may have a visual that, you know, whatever. But you really thought it was funny. And everybody in there thought it was funny. So what is it that makes us feel like I can't put no laughing emotions on that? Or I can't like it, even though you truly thought it was funny. Now you were worried about the other people who were gonna say, "Oh, Big Earl, you thought that was funny?" Yes, yeah, I thought that was funny. I mean, so that's a thing. You know, it's a.
What you think about that though? Cause see, you got different backgrounds. So I want to see where you gonna go with this.
This is gonna get hot now.
You know, holiness is hell. You know this.
Holiness is still right. Hey, come on, man. Come on with it. I want to hear it.
Yeah, because, you know, I had to get adjusted just to Mount Life. You know, I came in the gym, not no lie to you.
To Mount Life or My Life? What did you say?
Mount Life.
Okay, Mount Life.
Yeah, Mount Life good.
Like
I'm adjusted to Mount.
Right,
but you know, coming into the mountain, like my first, I got in here, I joined December 2013. So our first real moment was Watch Night.
Okay.
I came in that thing, man, and they playing Mary J. Blige and all that stuff. I'm looking around like I'm like an elementary. Ooh, this is gonna get y'all. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? So I'm tripping until I realize, and everybody, you know, dancing in the you know, they doing all that. You know, the choir, everybody. And so I'm mind blown. You know what I mean? Because I'm just coming straight out of coaching. Right. You know what I mean? We don't play that. Like I said, yeah. You know, so I have to get adjusted. So you know, but I still think there's value in recognizing that we still, as leaders. Now, if you're not a leader and you just, well, I'll take that back. I still think that you can't do anything, just any old thing that you want to do.
Okay.
Absolutely.
As a Christian, because we're ambassadors for Christ.
Okay.
So that means we represent Christ, we represent the kingdom.
Absolutely.
So you are somebody's green light. I always tell people this all the time, especially young guys that that come to me. You are always going to be somebody's green light. So they're going to look at LJ and be like, if I see LJ do it, then it must be good. So I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? Whether it's right or wrong, I ain't trying to say it's wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So we do, I believe, especially when you start going to the upper echelon, you start saying, okay, ministers, deacons, pastors, like we do have an obligation to the people to make sure that God is okay with what we are liking or swiping. It ain't about laughing in your private home or what you drink when you're at home. That's between you and God. But once you put on this public, persona, like there are some things I don't believe we should do just because we are somebody's green light.
Okay.
That's how I see it.
But is it okay or is it not okay? See, so whether you in your private home or not,
Is it okay?
is it okay or it's not okay? That's my only thing. If it's okay, then it's okay.
Right.
Well, it may be okay to do it, but it might not be okay to put it on social media.
What's the difference?
So this is okay. So
What's
now
the If you gonna be 100, be 100.
Yeah.
So I understand about not being a hindrance. You're not supposed to be a hindrance to somebody. So again, I think we always talk about being 100.
Okay.
So is 100 only applies to in my home, or I gotta be 50 outside in public?
Right. Well, ain't nobody perfect though. Right. So we all grown. We all fall short of glory. We all pushing towards the mark of the high calling. Say what?
I'm confused.
But see, the thing about it is, this is how I see it. Because like,
It's the barbershop.
you can't be perfect.
I always want to have this conversation.
Now, 1 Thessalonians 4:11 said, in New Living Translation, making your business, lead a quiet life, mind your own business. Making your goal to lead a quiet life, mind your own business.
Read, preacher.
You know what I mean? So that's when I always
Time
try to
out.
go.
Break it down in layman terms. It's the barbershop.
Okay.
What does that mean?
Okay.
Be careful how you live.
If I like a post and you didn't, you disagree with it, then keep scrolling. Don't be mad at me because I liked it or whatever. That's what mind your business means to me.
Yeah. Okay.
See what I'm saying? So we're gonna say, like, if we really minding our business.
Thank you.
See what I'm saying?
Why does it matter if I like
If
it?
we really minding our
Yeah, but
business.
then it goes back to what John was talking about, accountability.
I'm just saying he just read the scripture that said mind your business.
Yeah.
But the accountability. Wait. So no. Go.
Yeah, then it goes back,
on that.
it goes back to accountability. I'm minding my own business, but yet you don't do something on social media that will caught my attention and disturb my spirit.
Okay, stop right there.
I need to step there. I need to step there and say, hey,
So to disturb your spirit. Okay, that's your conviction.
No. What I'm saying, no. So let's be clear, right? What I'm saying is still, again, it's right and wrong with certain things, right? I ain't talking about the blatantly wrong. Like if it's wrong, it's wrong. I'm not saying, I'm just because even though it's wrong, I don't care. I'm saying it's certain things that ain't necessarily wrong.
It's just a conviction. Well, he said the word though. I think he said the word, and I get where you're going. I think it's the conviction piece, right?
Absolutely.
But I think conviction is, and it's just my take on this, it's an individual thing,
Absolutely.
right? But what happens is, like you're saying, your conviction is now rubbed wrong because of what I put out there that you can now see. Basically. Go ahead.
What I'm saying is, let's just say, he's out and he's smoking a cigar, and he's a minister, and I look up to him, and I see him on social media blowing smoke. Well, I'm bothered by that because number one, I'm looking at him as, my mentor, my guide, my leader, and even though where I am in my journey, I might not be gauging him right, but still with where I am, it's like, man, I ain't never thinking, him to be smoking no cigar, and it's perfectly fine with him. So for me, I want to reach out and kind of hold him accountable to the point that, hey, if you go smoke cigars, man, don't put it on social media because there are other people, because you're a green light, as you said.
So now you where I want to be.
But
here's my thought. Here's my thought on accountability, though. Okay, so now we come back to the definition of accountability, and here's why I get scared, right? Because of this conversation. Because Pastor Carl's definition of accountability in this conversation is if someone is looking up to me, they feel a way about something that I put out there. So now I can't be me, right? That's accountability for some people. For other people, accountability is more along the lines of just, hey man, don't let me do anything that's gonna cause me to miss God, right? And then there's accountability where you just got some judgmental folks out there that live in any old kind of way, but still want to ping you every time because of a title.
And that's what I was getting at with the scripture. Because I ain't finished it, because he started going, I'm like, it's the barbershop. Yeah, it's a barbershop. Well, that's what I was getting at with, you know, mind your own business. Like, if me and him, you know what I'm saying, we cool. But, and let's say, and Bishop even talked about this, I believe, last sermon. He was like, you know what I'm saying, if you got a rope, you got a bucket, I don't care what you believe, I don't care what, you know, who you vote for, whatever. If your rope and bucket is going to help me get to my destiny, man, that's between you and God. So my was saying, if God has not revealed anything to me about him, then it should not come before me what he's doing. You know what I mean? And so, and let's go to the cigarette part, or the smoking part. And cigar. If you catch me blowing smoke, that has nothing to do with your walk. Maybe God is trying to show you to put people in their proper place. So if God has brought a conviction of smoke, or not to smoke on you, you see what I mean? Right. Then that's the conviction, and maybe God is bringing you to the stand that he was trying to get that person to. Right. But you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, I think we can agree to some degree smoking not right. I mean, because you get cancer. Like, if it's going to bring your body to cancer, then we shouldn't really be smoking. So we not being good stewards of our body. So that's where we can go with that. And so let's say smoking is not good. Let's say we say smoking is not good. Maybe God is trying to bring you to the point and say, okay, don't put him higher than me. You know what I mean? Maybe he revealed that to you. But if God doesn't reveal anything to anybody, I think we get so deep into, you know what I'm saying, what this person is doing, what that person is doing. But if you lead a quiet life and mind your own business.
Mind your own business.
And just walk with God according to what God is bringing conviction in your own life. And then you work that salvation out on your own. Right. And don't try to, you know, and don't worry about other people. You'll be all right.
I think people are so worried about finding this. I think in my walk, man, I think people always looking for an excuse why not to get right. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like know what it takes, but I ain't gonna do it because he doing it. You know, not having a real relationship with Christ themselves. Okay. You know, because again, sometimes being saved is a bear to some people. That means I gotta cut off friendships. I gotta cut off relationships.
Because we make people think you can't do it.
Right. So that's the bear. Fun. Yeah. Right. God is not fun. So that was the one thing I would often tell. I've been at the mouth for a long time. I often tell anybody, I don't think I would be in another church. I've been kicked out a long time ago. Right. But God placed it on a man's heart to have a place that's something that I can be saved in. So again, I think it's generational theological thoughts. You know what I'm saying? That there's so many blurred lines to say what's right, what ain't right. So instead of asking God, here.
Again, we still be worried about the people, man. Like, so everything.
But that's real though.
Everything we talking about, everything we said, like we still forcing people to be one way in, you know, certain settings. I mean, like we force that.
Conformity is a real thing in church.
It is.
Conformity is a real thing in church, and I think for me, man, like if I'm being 100% honest, man, like it's just like I said. For me, it's if you scared, say you scared. For me, sometimes, man, people can be very fearful, man. Like for me, because you don't know what you can put out. And I mean, of course, we all know the word. Don't let your good be evil spoken of. Don't be a stumbling block for your brothers. There's so much word out there that tells us we have to conduct ourselves a way, right? So I'm not here to say that we out here just get ready to live reckless and cause somebody not to see God or to see Jesus or to see Jesus through us. But I also think, though, that sometimes people in church become so religious that we add on layers that were never intended, and then we call accountability. What we call accountability is nosiness, being a busybody. So that's what I'm saying. So I'm afraid of accountability at this point because we've made it so general. Right. You know what I'm saying? So what? Okay, I put a post up. It has some language in it. I say on the status, hey, there's a little language, part of the language, but this is funny. That should be enough of a disclaimer, right? That I know there's language. Right? Now, somebody gonna write you and be like, man, I don't know, as a man of God, I don't know if you should be putting that up. I said in the beginning that it had language in it. But that ain't enough because your conviction is now being projected onto me. Right. You don't go to R-rated movies. I do.
That's my point.
I do. That doesn't bother me. Exactly. But if it bothers you, now if you come to my house and I know you don't rock with scary movies, I know you don't like hip hop. That's different. Yeah. But this is a public domain.
Unfollow.
You don't have to follow me. You don't have to like it, right? But if we're being honest, man, all of us have wrestled with the type of posts we put up, who we follow, who we share. And I'm just using social media because I just think it's where we live right now.
You know what we look at but don't like or share. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's what I was. That was my point.
I don't share stuff. I literally had this conversation with LJ one day, man. I saw one of the funniest videos ever and said, I can't put this up. Right. Yeah. The partners will crucify me, but this was hilarious.
And then your partners looking at it and laughing.
And they but they gonna treat me different though. Like you said it. They gonna look at that and it's like we got echelons of leaders, man. God looking at all of us and going John, Carl, LJ, Vince, He ain't going Pastor John and Pastor LJ. Man, he just looking at it going, you know what? God probably laughed at it too. I mean, honestly.
Now that's funny. Like, I don't know why he ain't laughing. Look out, man, he laughing.
I mean, sometimes we just gotta be real and say sometimes we taking this thing a little bit,
way too far.
Like they say, doing too much.
Yeah, and then my other thing, man, if I'm just being honest, man, I don't know if sometimes, man, I think I'm afraid to stand out. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like David, man, the reason why I admire David, man, this dude literally walks up to a battleground just to bring his brothers lunch.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You feel what I'm saying? Like he's not there to fight a giant. Like he doesn't go out there. You know, let me go on out here and fight this giant.
To me, David was the most one of the gangsters, dude. Peter, see everybody talking about Peter, but David was gangster to me because he was just about. He was
the OG.
He was just about the hood. He was like, "What's going on? Oh, he tripping over here? Nobody gonna say nothing? None y'all gonna do nothing? Right. Oh, this the hood. I gotta handle this." Yeah. So that's my thought. And so David believed in his hood, his belief so much that he said, "Ain't nobody coming in here disrespecting us." Yeah. And then they tried to sort of. I don't know.
I had to put my glasses on for this.
The minister coming out, and then what happened? They try to put him on some other clothes that didn't fit him. So, but that was my plight. Yeah. Like a lot of times, church will put you trying to put some stuff that don't fit you. But there's people out there that's looking for just looking for me to be in my chucks and my jeans. You know what I'm saying? Because then that says that's what's good about the mouth. That says, oh, I can listen to Parliament and still be saved. I can love God and still come in here and still boogie with my wife. So again,
they took it off. They Saul gave him the stuff. Yeah. He tried it on, walked around a little bit.
And felt uncomfortable.
I can't rock with this.
So this ain't how I get down.
This
ain't what I know.
I can't do it like this. Like so. And so I think if he had tried to fight him like that, he would have lost.
He took an L.
So a lot of times when you're going on an assignment, you got to go when you comfortable. You got to you can't get up there and try to do so
you gonna stand out because that's your flow.
Again, standing out again. Redefined. They crying over there. Why? Because now it's he's standing out. Now I can stand out.
That's good. That's good.
And I say this too. And I know this one guy said a long time ago. He said, people back in the days, people so busy trying to cross over, they forget to bring the cross over. You know what I mean? So I think in all that we do, you know what I mean, there's still a standard. Mm-hmm. And you know what I mean? And I think where we miss it, because I heard a bunch of leaders, I ain't gonna put some name up, I saw this video of leaders talking about a certain topic, and all on flaked out on the topic. And I'm just like, I was disappointed because I'm like, y'all leaders, all y'all gotta do is say it ain't about what, because they asked, the reporters asked them, what do you feel about this? What do you believe about this? Right. But they missed the point. It ain't got to do what I believe. Mm-hmm. This is what the Bible says. Right. This is what God said. Right. Other than that, my feelings don't matter. This is the standard This is what we're supposed to live by. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, we can get the nuance of like in twerk videos and all. We ain't talking about that. We talking about there is a standard.
There's a standard.
You know what I'm saying? And so even
I didn't say twerk.
Hey, let the record reflect.
Right. He did not say twerk. And my reference point for twerk was not for anybody.
You see past the symbol, and you see past the symbol with the eyes.
Not use terminology. But let me say this though, and you know this from being a barber, man. It's like the signs that show like, you know, the haircuts and things like this. Here's what I've learned about the Bible, man, and just the Word of God, sermons, what Bishop preached today, all the time, man. You have to find, you can't go in there and pick a number that don't apply to your head. When you get a haircut, it's gotta apply. Like you can look at that picture and it could be a dope haircut, but it's still it's gotta apply to me, right? How convictions and the word and all of that goes. It's application, right? Like for me, man, sometimes I think the standout piece is I get afraid of the fact that, again, I think at times church can try to put you in a box.
Absolutely.
Right? And you go in and the barber tell you Caesar. Like, and you like, no, I don't want no Caesar. I want a taper, dog. You get the Caesar. Like, and you're like, that's what church does, I think, sometimes. But you as a barber, you go what you want, right?
Absolutely.
And even if they tell you they want something crazy, you look at them. Now, you might.
Now, I recommend.
There it is.
I don't think that's going to.
So why do we got to fit that? Why do we have to fit that in church? Why do we have to? Why? When does somebody say, I ain't about to fit in this box?
I'm finna get in trouble.
I want to stand out. Like, but I'm gonna tell you, I've been afraid. But church has made you, at least me, I'll speak for me. Church has made me at times be afraid to stand out and be different and to be and then what ends up happening is you're not your authentic self, right? So David had presence of mind to decide, I'm gonna be me. Because I know I was able to do when wasn't nobody else around. I defeated a lion, grabbed him by the mane, took the sheep back. When no one else was around, God still used me, and I defeated a bear. And no one was there to see it. But now I'm publicly on display in front of people. Why am I going to change it up now? If God got me through all of this prior to now, why am I going to change it up now that I'm on a public stage? Absolutely. That's my whole thing. Absolutely. If I'm on a public stage now, but God's been giving me victory in private, why am I going to change it up now that I'm in public?
Because
but to answer the question, I think it's because the church has become the bear.
Okay.
The bully.
People are afraid.
The bully.
And my last point is that I know who the girl is in the video. That's David's sister.
That's David's sister. We know that, but that's why some people don't stand out. Because you know, the church has become some type of bear or bully. Because I'm telling you, if your mentals ain't straight, I'm gonna use this joke one time. If your mentals ain't straight in church, I remember when me and Els go to the barber shop, and my barber was like, "Hey man, your hairline receding. You need to put this beige in." So, but because everybody's around, it was like, "You should try it, Earl. You should try it." And she's like, "Oh, they're my friends." But sometimes that's what they do. They force you in, coerce you into doing something that ain't you. And so all the time you made a fool of, or you a joke.
Right.
And so you walk around, everybody like, you sharp, dog, you sharp, dog. The whole time they tear you up. So I'm saying that sometimes, again, because you don't have credible others in, not saying they weren't credible,
No, I got you.
But I'm saying sometimes you can let something that you belong here, but you don't belong in that facet.
Right.
That's not your assignment to be in three-piece suits all the time and all that. Sometimes you have your own disciples out there that's looking at you and say, if Earl can do it, if L can do it, if Carl can do it, if T can do it, then I can do it. You know
a lot of times, because to your point, we look at things, we say, so we always talking about doing whatever you do or say or whatever is a deterrent. Right, but for a lot of people, we talking about influence. A lot of things, what you doing and saying is bringing people in.
Right,
it's a draw because ain't nobody doing it how you doing it. You know what I'm saying? And like, I'm just one of those people, right? Like, with this church thing, again, we've already made clear we ain't talking about right or wrong, right? So as long as we talking about this stuff, that maybe even some gray area, but that's definitely not wrong. I'm just not the person that I can't let people prevent me from living my life when I ain't doing nothing wrong.
Right.
So I'm sorry if you know, like, you gonna have to get over, you know what I'm saying? Like, Drake got a song that said, you got a problem with me, you gonna have to walk around.
Right.
Alright, and that's just what it is.
Yeah.
I ain't about to let nobody prevent me from living my life when I ain't doing nothing wrong.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
It just is what it is. You cannot like it, you can disagree with it, or whatever case may be. But you can't hold me from living my life, and I ain't.
And it's most times people that can't live your life, they're just jealous. They
want a piece of that. So
look,
because I know you got another appointment, man. I'm just have to come back another time, so we might have to do this again next week. But look, I mean, for me, like I said, I just want to put a different conversation out there, man, because I know there are times where I'm scared, you know, and deal with things that we're afraid of, things that we got fear about, and man, look at people in the Bible from the lens of just everyday application. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I just think there are bears out there, and we got to decide once and for all we're gonna push them off the wall. You know what I'm saying? And just deal with it. And then for me today, man, I just wanted to identify. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't even begin to deal with the problem until you identify it, right?
Absolutely.
You gotta acknowledge it. Okay, these are things that are out there. So I know I ain't the only one. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I know there's got to be some other people out there looking at that stuff the same way. But look, man, I appreciate just coming in and chopping it up with y'all at the barbershop, man. And, I don't know what y'all got going on next week, but you know, most of us got to get haircuts again.
Okay.
And, you know, so if you got a hat on in the room, well, no, 2 hats. One keeping it real, one not so much. Look, hey man, appreciate y'all coming, man, being a part of it. Appreciate the conversation. Look, so at this time, if you're watching us online, we get ready to throw it back to our affirmations and countdowns and get ready for 10 a.m. service. Thanks for chopping it up with me. We'll see you next week.